Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never expected marriage to feel like performance, but somewhere along the way, that's what it became. I'm James. I'm 39. For 11 years, I believed I was married to a woman who loved me, even when life dulled the excitement. Elizabeth and I weren't reckless romantics. We were steady, predictable. I thought that was what commitment looked like. Elizabeth used to fall asleep before me, curled slightly toward my side of bed, her hand resting on my arm like an anchor. Over the years, that distance changed. First, it was her back turned. Then the space between us widened, inch by inch, until the bed felt like neutral territory neither of us wanted to cross. I told myself it was normal. Work stress, routine, aging. All the excuses people use when they don't want to look too closely at what's breaking. If you've ever convinced yourself that silence is better than confrontation, tap the like button so this story reaches others who've lived the same quiet lie. Elizabeth started staying out later. Just drinks with friends, she'd say, tossing her phone onto the counter face down. I noticed how often she showered the moment she got home, how her perfume changed, how she stopped meeting my eyes when she talked. But I didn't accuse. I waited. I listened. I watched. I was raised to believe that if something's wrong, you fix it by being better. So I did more. I cooked. I cleaned. I asked about her day. I planned weekends she always canceled last minute. The more effort I put in, the further away she seemed, like affection repelled her. One Thursday night, she didn't come home at all. Her text came at 2:14 a.m. Don't wait up. Crashed at Melissa's. I didn't reply. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to hum of the refrigerator downstairs, feeling something inside me settle into a hard, quiet certainty. If you were in my place, would you have believed that message? Comment below with truth if you think you already know the answer. Elizabeth came home the next morning smelling like unfamiliar soap. She kissed my cheek, already moving past me, and said, "Long night." That was it. No apology. No explanation. I watched her disappear into the bathroom, and for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt prepared. I didn't confront her. I didn't check her phone. I didn't hire anyone or follow her around. I simply started paying attention to the patterns I'd ignored for months. The late nights. The sudden gym sessions she never invited me to. The way she smiled at texts and frowned at conversations with me. People always think betrayal announces itself loudly. It doesn't. It slips in quietly, disguised as routine. That Saturday, she said she was meeting friends again. I nodded, told her to have fun, and watched her leave wearing a dress she hadn't worn for me in years. When the door closed, I sat alone at the kitchen table, listening to the echo, knowing exactly where she was going. At some point, loyalty stops being noble and starts being self-neglect. If this moment resonates with you, share this story with someone who understands what it's like to be replaced while still married. Elizabeth came home just after midnight. I was already in bed, lights off, breathing slow. I felt the mattress dip as she slipped in beside me. She smelled like wine and someone else's cologne, though she thought the shower erased it. She didn't know I was awake. Her phone buzzed once. She muted it quickly. I stayed still, staring into the dark, my mind unusually calm. No shouting, no heartbreak theatrics. Just a decision solidifying itself with every second she lay there pretending nothing had happened. Some people cry when they realize the truth. Others plan. Before you hear what I did next, type ready in the comments if you want to know how quiet clarity turns into action. I rolled onto my side, facing away from her, and listened to her breathing even out. That night, for the first time in years, I slept deeply. Not because I trusted her, but because I finally trusted myself. By morning, everything would change, and Elizabeth had no idea what she'd already triggered. If you're ready to continue, reply with, "I woke up before the alarm, before Elizabeth stirred, before the house remembered how it used to feel. She was still asleep beside me, turned away, hair spread across the pillow like nothing had changed. I watched her for a moment, not with anger, not even sadness, but with a strange sense of detachment. Whatever version of us once existed didn't live here anymore. I got out of bed quietly and went downstairs. The kitchen clock read 6:12 a.m. I made coffee, black, and sat at the table where we'd eaten 1,000 dinners pretending everything was fine. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number lit the screen. Last night was amazing. Same time next week. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Elizabeth came down 20 minutes later, freshly showered, already dressed for work. She smiled like she always did when she thought things were under control. "Morning," she said, reaching for a mug. "Morning." I replied evenly. She noticed the envelope on the table then. Plain white, her name written neatly across the front. She frowned. "What's this?" "Something you should read before you leave," I said. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside were printed screenshots. Dates, times, hotel confirmations, messages she thought were deleted. Not all of them, just enough. Her face drained of color as she flipped through the pages, hands starting to shake. "James, I can explain," she said quickly, already searching for the right angle, the right words. "I'm sure you can," I replied, "just not to me." She sat down hard, eyes darting between the papers and my face. "How long have you known?" "Long enough," I said. "What matters is what I know now. If you were in her position, what would you say first, sorry or scared? Comment below with a word that feels more honest to you." Elizabeth reached for my hand. I pulled it back. "Please," she said. "It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake." I nodded slowly. Mistakes are accidents. This was a pattern. Her mouth opened, then closed again. For the first time, she had nothing prepared. I slid another document across the table. Her eyes widened as she recognized it. A notarized agreement. Separation terms. Clean, direct, fair but final. "You already did this," she whispered. "Yes, you planned this." I accepted it. I corrected. She started crying then. Quiet at first, then louder, the kind meant to trigger sympathy. It didn't. All I felt was clarity. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and headed for the door. "James," she called after me. "Where are you going?" "To work." I said, "You should call a lawyer." That evening, I came home late. Elizabeth's car was gone. The house was quiet, lighter somehow. On the counter sat her wedding ring, placed carefully like a prop in a scene she no longer controlled. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. If this story reflected a moment where someone finally chose self-respect, share it with others who need to see what quiet strength looks like. Weeks passed. The separation stayed civil. She tried to negotiate emotions after the paperwork was done. I didn't engage. Closure doesn't come from conversations that should have happened years earlier. One night, as I lay in bed alone, I realized something unexpected. The nasty surprise wasn't the documents. It wasn't the evidence. It wasn't even walking away. It was this. She expected devastation. She expected chaos. She expected me to beg. Instead, she got silence, structure, and consequences. And that was something she could never undo. Before you go, like this video, comment with your thoughts on calm responses versus emotional ones, and subscribe if you want more stories about quiet power and self-respect. Some endings don't explode. They simply close the door and finally let you breathe.